Welcome back to another video. Today, you thought I was gonna put down the fan fiction? No, I'm not. Today we're gonna talk about something really exciting, which is mskingbean89 Taylor Swift. Alright, I took this video very seriously. I even wrote a script. So there's a theory that Taylor Swift is renowned writer, AO3 writer, mskingbean89, who wrote one of the most famous fan fictions. I actually talked about it in my last video, called All the Young Dudes. All the Young Dudes is a popular fan fiction made from March 2017 to November 2018. And as I did my research, the fic has over 290,000 kudos, which are technically likes. The fic is also over 19 million hits, which means over 19 million people have at least clicked on the link to the story. It's on Archive of Our Own, which is AO3. It amassed most of its popularity in 2021-2022 when Marauders Talk became a thing, really. I'm pretty sure it's been there, like Marauders Talk has been there since probably the beginning of TikTok, but that's kind of when it started taking off. It was like right after Draco Talk. So Draco Talk and then Marauders Talk, because Harry Potter was getting popular again. So Marauders, I will say, have always existed. I have read fics from 2013 about Jegulus and Wolfstar. About Jegulus, can you believe that? I thought it started as a crack ship, but it's fine. Young Dudes is now discussed as like a fandom canon. So people actually take it very seriously. A lot of people call it the Bible of Marauders fanfiction. It begins in 1971, where a young 11-year-old Remus Lupin gets a visit from Albus Dumbledore at the orphanage he lives at, saying that he's a wizard. He ends up going to Hogwarts, and he ends up meeting Sirius Black, James Potter, Peter Pettigrew, all of our favorite Marauders. Also deals with his furry little problem. Sirius's abuse that he's facing at home, and also his studies at school. It's basically the Marauder's childhood, but it's from Remus's perspective. It goes all the way up from Remus's first year in 1971 all the way until 1993, where he's the professor for Harry. There's a lot of fun moments in this fic as well, a lot of fun, sad, insane moments, like when Remus begins selling cigarettes at school because he needs bank. The Marauders become animagi, which is lovely, and then the chapter that haunts me forever and ever, all my days, Sweet 16. That fuck ass stairwell, bro. Main ships in All the Young Dudes are Wolfstar and Jilly. Jilly's more of like a side, but of course, since it's canon, James, he's like obsessing over Lily, so we get a little bit of hint of that from Remus's point of view as well. There has been a lot of controversy around the fic though, because people think that that's not really how Remus would be acting, but guys, it's fan fiction. Not everything is going to be accurate all the time. That's just not how it works. Everybody's going to act the way that they acted in canon, because we're not the author of canon. And honestly, thank the Lord that we're not, because fuck JK Rowling. You're probably wondering, Lila, how the hell does this connect to Taylor Swift? Like, Taylor Swift, big, huge star, pop star Taylor Swift. How the hell does this connect to her? Well, I am so glad you asked, actually. My first form of evidence is actually based on the username mskingbean89. You're probably like, Lila, what are you even talking about? Let's focus on the last part of the username. Let's focus on the numbers at the end. 89. That's Taylor Swift's birth year. Yep, that's Taylor Swift's birth year. As Taylor Swift actually named one of her albums after her birth year, 1989, which 1989 was Taylor Swift's best-selling album ever, and it is known as a pop sensation. I will also mention that at the time All the Young Dudes came out is right after she released 1989. Anybody? Anybody? A lot of people know that Taylor Swift's birth year is 1989 because she is so vocal about it. mskingbean89, Taylor Swift, who knows? I do think it is very probable that Taylor would put her birth year in her AO3 username. I also do want to talk a little bit about AO3 usernames as well. I think it's really interesting and significant that you can make an account on AO3 and you don't know who these people are. Unless they have other accounts on social media that they're trying to promote their fics or promote their works, you're not going to know who they are. It's a website that's very private. It's a very private website. Genuinely, it could be Taylor Swift, because who would know? She could be on AO3 and she could be writing fanfictions, we just wouldn't know. Anybody could be. That includes, I don't know, McKenna Grace. Yeah, girl, I see you, I know what you are. But I honestly feel so bad for her. Imagine being outed like that to your co-stars that you made edits about. Secondly, the best piece of evidence that we have for this is Taylor's lyrics and her songs. Really, really, really put emphasis on a lot of little things that Marauders fans see or find a lot in popular tropes. For an example, I'll indulge you. Remus, since he's a werewolf, is commonly tied with the moon because, well, his name is Moony. Sirius is a constellation, so he's a star. That's Taylor's lyrics from Folklore all the way to even Life of a Showgirl, which was released in 2025, which was only a couple months ago, all lead to either Wolfstar or Harry Potter as itself, which is really, really crazy. And sometimes I'm listening and I'm like, babe, I know what you are. I'm gonna read a couple of Taylor's lyrics from different songs and then tell you why they relate to Wolfstar, or I'll just tell you if they're self-explanatory. Cardigan from Folklore. And when I felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed, you put me on and said I was your favorite. What's a popular headcanon about Remus Lupin? My boy wears cardigans, my boy wears cardigans. So cardigans are actually very significant to Wolfstar. You drew stars around my scars, but now I'm bleeding. You drew stars, Sirius, around my scars. Remus, because of the werewolf thing, he had that scar across his face. If you've seen Remus Lupin in any capacity, fan art, or even in the movies, David Lewis, if you've seen either of them, they have scars. You drew stars around my scars, but now I'm bleeding. You know why? Because Sirius went to Azkaban because Remus thought he betrayed everyone. Yeah. I know you'd miss me once the thrill expired and you'd be standing in my front porch light and I knew you'd come back to me. That to me sounds like Sirius going to Remus's, like while Remus is living with Grant, and is like, hey princess, I missed you. August as a whole. August as a whole. You know what? Scratch that. The whole 3 storyline, Betty, James, Augustine storyline, is quite literally Sirius, Remus, Grant. August is literally Grant Chapman. Will not be taking questions at this time. Champagne problems. It's the bridge. The whole entire bridge is quite literally, actually this whole song is so all the young dudes coded because Remus could never say yes to Grant. He was always his champagne problem. And also the whole bridge is just so Marauders coded, so like their era in Hogwarts coded, like your Midas touch on a Chevy door, November flush in your flannel cure, this dorm was once a madhouse. I made a joke, well it's made for me. How evergreen our group of friends, don't think we'll say that word again, and soon they'll have the nerve to deck the halls that we once walked through. That, and soon they'll have the nerve to deck the halls that we once walked through, that is about Golden Trio. It's Gold Rush, but it's Remus to Sirius. What must it be like to grow up that beautiful with your hair falling into place like dominoes? Sirius's beautiful, gorgeous, iconic hair. I can't dare to dream about you anymore because they can't be together because they're gay. Because they're like that everybody would die to feel your touch. Everybody wants you. Which is true because everybody does want Sirius. Who doesn't want Sirius? I want Sirius. And Midnight Rain is Grant and Remus. This is Remus to Grant. My boy was a montage. A slow motion love potion jumping off things in the ocean. I broke his heart because he was nice. So true. Grant Chapman, you deserve so much better. You deserve so much happiness, so much joy, so much life. I love you, Grant Chapman. He was sunshine, I was midnight rain. He wanted it comfortable, I wanted that pain. He wanted a bride, I was making my own name. I cannot stress this to you, that Remus Lupin and Grant Chapman were together for 12 years. And they still had history before. Remus Lupin knew Grant for longer than he truthfully knew Sirius, considering the fact that Sirius was incarcerated. He was nice, he was perfect, he helped Remus through all of his alcoholism, helped him through everything that happened after James and Lily passed away. But Remus wanted that pain, Remus wanted the fighting with Sirius, he wanted all of it. And Grant couldn't give him that kind of pain. Grant didn't want his love to be painful. Deep portal time travel, all the love we unravel, and the life I gave away. So the life he had to give away because Sirius isn't asking man for murder. I guess sometimes we all get what we wanted, and he never thinks of me except when I'm on TV. You know what that lyric actually reminded me of? In 1998, the letter stopped, and Grant knew Remus was dead. That's what that reminded me of. The Great War. This is Wolfstar as well. My hand was the one you reached for all throughout the Great War. True, until he didn't. Which is where we get to. Somewhere in the haze, got a sense I'd been betrayed. Also, I really thought I lost you because he came back. He came back. The Tortured Poets Department, the song, even the album, actually, is the most proof of Taylor being mskingbean89 that I've ever seen in my life. The Tortured Poets Department really makes me believe that this is like something that could actually be true. Take title song, Tortured Poets Department. You ate 7 bars of chocolate. This is not even fucking funny. What helps? Chocolate makes you feel better. Who was the one who told that to Harry? Remus Lupin! You're in self-sabotage mode, throwing spikes down on the road. That really reminded me, actually, of the prank. Sirius self-sabotaged that whole thing. The whole prank. He self-sabotaged. He was the one that was like, I'm gonna go lose all my friends now because I'm mad. Who's gonna hold you like me? Who's gonna know you if not me? I feel like I take that as serious, like saying that as like a, who's gonna love you but me? Like, the fuck? After he like showed up at Grant and Remus's door and he's like, who's gonna know you like me? Guys, in the same song, we have the word chocolate, and then we have this despicable line. I scratch your head, you fall asleep like a tattooed golden retriever. Are we so dead ass? This. Okay, Padfoot. Fresh Out the Slammer to me is a very serious song. Serious to Remus after he like got out of the actual slammer. Now, pretty baby, I'm running back home to you. Fresh out the slammer, I know who my first call will be to. Clocked. As I said in my letters, now that I know better, I will never lose my baby again. This is from 1993 to 1995. We all know what happens in 1995. Actually, we don't, because it never actually happened. They lived happily ever after, and they were happy and so happy and amazing. Seriously though, I genuinely can't take Wolfstar. Like, they're just so tragic to me because they actually make me sick. It makes me devastated. I have tears forming in my eyes. Now, pretty baby, I'm running up to the house where you still wait up and that porch light gleams. Remus did wait. Remus always unconsciously waited for Sirius. He always wanted Sirius back in some way. That's why he could never fully commit to Grant. Okay guys, now we're getting into some very obvious territory here. The black dog. Oh, who do we think this is about? Wolfstar. I just don't understand how you don't miss me in The Black Dog when someone plays the starting line and you jump up, but she's too young to know this song. Who's too young to know this song? Oh, maybe it's Sirius's cousin, who is years younger than Remus, canonically years younger than Remus. She probably wouldn't know that song. No Tonks hate though. I love Tonks. I love my angel baby. The marriage is very like lavender marriage coded to me. My longings stay unspoken, and I may never open up the way I did for you. Get out of my face. That is so them. That's so Sirius to Remus, because Sirius has a hard time opening up because of everything with this house, but he already opened up to Remus, so like why would he want to restart? Even if I die screaming, and I hope you hear it. Sirius did die. Not screaming, but Harry did. Harry screamed very loud. This video is actually affecting my mental health. How did it end? Also about Wolfstar. We were blind to unforeseen circumstances. We learned the right steps to different dances. I take How Did It End to happen, like the song Wolfstar related, to happen during the war, before James and Lily died, where they were both suspecting each other as spies. They couldn't say anything, and then they started drifting and all of that. I do think mskingbean89, Taylor, I know it's you. Bean89 did a really good job dissecting how suspicious they were growing of each other and how they both kind of had that huge disconnect. Peter. Yep, that's actual song title. Peter. Who else is Peter? Peter Pettigrew. I take Peter's song to be like Remus speaking to Peter. Are you still a mind reader, a natural scene stealer? I've heard great things, Peter, but life was always easier on you than it was on me. And it was. This part, I do like, because I do think Remus unconsciously waited for his friends. And even Sirius, because he's just like, I just don't believe it. Like, and I won't confess that I waited, but I let the lamp burn. As the men masqueraded, I hoped you'd return. I think this really meshes a lot with Sirius in Fresh Out of the Slammer from my mind, saying, now pretty baby, I'm running to the house where you still wait up and that porch light gleams. I think that's a really cute parallel. Finally, we have ruined the friendship. It was not an invitation, should have kissed you anyway, but your girlfriend was away, should have kissed you anyway. Mary.
I love you.
I love you, Mary. You're not just Sirius's ex-girlfriend. You do not get in the way of Wolfstar. Neither does Tonks. Get out of my face with that propaganda. I love my girls. I love my girls so much. Lily, I love you. I love all my girls so much. I just thought I'd make that abundantly clear, that just because I read a lot of fics about Jegulus or Wolfstar or whatever, or Byler, I love them so much. But your girlfriend was away, should have kissed you anyway reminds me so much of Sweet 16. I'll never let that chapter go ever. It was not convenient, would have been my best mistake. They make me sick. Then I left school, I lost track of you. Abigail called me with the bad news, goodbye. But I whispered at the grave, should have kissed you anyway. When I heard this lyric, the immediate first thing I thought of was Miss at Sirius's empty grave because he didn't have a body, and saying, I should have kissed you anyway. So the rest of my video got deleted, so you have me in my night clothes. Do with all that lyric information what you will, but I think even titles like The Prophecy, The Black Dog, and Peter are pretty self-explanatory to me. Like the Tortured Poets department as a whole is so Marauders coded. And that being said, with all of that evidence of Taylor being mskingbean89, there is a new joke in the fandom ever since season 5 of Stranger Things came out, where they think that Mike Wheeler is mskingbean89. Stranger Things fans and Marauders fans typically come together quite a bit, especially when it comes to Byler, because Byler and Wolfstar actually have very similar tropes. So if you like Wolfstar, you probably like Byler. If you like Byler, you probably like Wolfstar. This is because Wolfstar and Byler have a lot of similarities, including the fact that they were both childhood best friends. Will's a lot like Remus. Will and Remus are both quite introverted. He is typically more aware of his queerness in Sirius is, or than Mike is. A big correlation between Remus and Will is that Remus, as a werewolf, he feels like really disgusted with himself. He feels like something's wrong with him. And so does Will when it comes to Vecna. He feels like there's something inherently wrong with him, and there's something that, like, he doesn't deserve love, or he doesn't deserve any of that because of that affecting him from a very young age, which is exactly what happened to Remus. In the same breath, Mike is a lot like Sirius, in the sense that they're both very extroverted and very outspoken. He also gets with a girl to try to ignore his feelings for his best friend because he doesn't think that it's normal. Or maybe he does. Mike, we don't really get a clear answer on Mike. Both Sirius and Mike both have crippling internalized homophobia. Both Wolfstar and Byler take place in the 70s and 80s, which is a big time where queer relationships weren't accepted. And there are wizard-sorcerer dynamics. Because of the disastrous and disappointing ending of Stranger Things 5, and also the newfound I hate Mike Wheeler because of him destroying Byler with his bare hands, there's kind of like a big fanon joke going on. Why do people think that Mike Wheeler is mskingbean89? The party graduated from Hawkins High in 1989. You know where I'm going with this, guys. You know where I'm going with this. Mike is a storyteller. He tells stories that he wishes that were true, and he takes a lot of comfort in the magic of those stories. For an example, in season 5, at the end of season 5, when he makes that story up about Jane, or Elle, he makes up that story that she goes and sees all the waterfalls and etc., and that she's alive. Harry Potter is also a school of wizards. It would make sense that Mike would put Will as a sorcerer and him as like a magical being within a magical world. Also, Mike probably saw himself a lot within Sirius and Remus. This is probably my favorite theory I've ever seen in my life, by the way. You're probably wondering, Lila, do you believe mskingbean89 is Taylor Swift? And to that, I say yes, 100% absolutely. Or if she's not mskingbean89, she's 100% a Marauders fan. There's so much evidence. If you look up all the evidence of Taylor Swift being a Marauders fan, you'd be able to see it so easily, clear as day. She probably does keep in touch with the fandom. Do you think Taylor would absolutely be able to create an AO3 account and write fanfiction about Remus and Sirius? I think that she would do it wonderfully and beautifully and incredibly. She's a beautiful writer. I just can't accept all of her lyrics as coincidences. I didn't really talk about the prophecy, but that's because I see the prophecy more as like a Lily Harry thing rather than a Wolfstar thing. 7 is so Prong's foot. But I will die on the hill that she's either mskingbean89 or a Marauders fan. With all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. I'm having so much fun making them. They're so much fun to edit and whatever. I love it. And thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye!